it's the next level.
So what's the move?
Same as always. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
We got a man down. Sound the
Hey panelers, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about the third episode of Marvel's What If on Disney+. So, this episode is What If the World's... Well, no, not really. What if the world lost its mightiest heroes?
Yes. Yeah.
And the synopsis, Steve?
What if Loki presented himself to the governments of Earth as king of Asgard using all his diplomacy? See, that is not a good description of this episode, in my opinion. That is a horrible synopsis for this episode. Yes, that's something that happens in the episode, but that's not what the episode's about, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember reading that, and I kept expecting Loki to come out, and it's like 13 minutes into the episode, which is only 30 minutes long, before we see him. So it's almost halfway through before we even see Loki. So
yeah,
that's whoever wrote that synopsis was, I don't know if they're trying to misdirect people or what, but
yeah, it was more about the, I guess you would call it the mystery of who's killing these people until you get it at the end.
Yeah, I would put it that way. Something like that, like as Nick Fury tries to assemble his Avengers initiative, someone is killing them off. Boom.
Yeah. Boom.
There's your synopsis.
Exactly.
You know?
Very simple.
You could add, and Black Widow investigates, maybe, or something like that. But even that doesn't need to be in there.
Yeah.
The whole Loki thing, I was just like, what? Where? So anyway.
All right. Well, what were your initial thoughts about the?
I just thought it was another great episode. You know, I love the twist that it had. I love you know, because I thought when I first saw, because I didn't remember Iron Man 2, and I'll probably talk about this a couple times during the episode because I tend to repeat myself. I know. I didn't remember Iron Man 2, so when they pointed to Tony's neck, I was like, oh, is that like a zombie virus? And because when he died, I thought, oh, we're getting the zombie episode, and then it wasn't that. So I was like, okay, so what is this? And so I was pleasantly intrigued because I'm a fan, but I'm not like a super, like I haven't super dove into these movies, and I need to just bite the bullet and go back and rewatch them from the beginning to remind myself of all these things, because there's a lot of stuff in these what if episodes that are really tying into a lot of the movies, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as we go through.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they do tie in a lot of obscure parts within the movies, and I like that. I noticed that scene right away, and yeah, I enjoyed it for that purpose too. I was like, oh, they're really replaying this scene, but they changed it accordingly when I watched New Rockstars when they covered it just that day, because they really examined it, and I'm like, oh wow, that wasn't in that scene. Oh, that wasn't there either. Wow, that's pretty cool, and it's fun to go through that after you've watched the episode too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for me, this was a surprise to me, and I really loved it. As tragic as it was, I really did enjoy the episode a lot. I love the plot twist at the end. I wasn't seeing that coming, but you knew it was Loki trying to do something, and he was basically doing what we think, and I'll go into my thoughts later on about that. But when Hulk exploded, I knew right away who it was. That was
really that's what cued it into you, was Hulk exploding?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because when they were talking about Endgame or Infinity War and stuff like that back then, way back when, we would always talk about, well, how could you get rid of Thanos? Well, all Ant-Man has to do is just jump inside his ear or his butt or something and just, enlarge himself to explode him.
Oh, okay. So I could see that you could clue in that it had something to do with Ant-Man.
Yeah, because it looked like he was like, it's like nothing could really kill him. because bullets will only make him angrier and bigger. And I saw him getting bigger, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe this was. And then when he exploded, I was like, no, something enlarged inside of him.
Yeah. Huh.
But that was my thought on that. But yeah, I still enjoyed it nonetheless. And then we still got a Loki. I'm wondering if they're gonna tie this particular Loki into how they're doing the multiverse, because we already saw a bunch of different Lokis in the Loki series. So that would be cool.
Yeah, we'll talk some more about other theories and stuff that got blown out of the water with this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we'll move right along right into our top 5s.
You would do best to kneel before a god.
We don't really do that here, no matter who or what you are.
I am Loki, Crown Prince of Asgard, the rightful king of Jotunheim, and god of mischief. Are you going to take that? I'm in the middle of something here.
I think it's my turn. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I just loved how it took place. Kind of, I didn't realize until I listened to another podcast that this week, this 5 days, is actually covering over those 3 movies: Thor, Iron Man 2, and The Incredible Hulk, which all take place. I didn't realize. I guess I was. Again, I apologize to the listeners. Troll me if you want. I'm not as huge a fan of. I haven't watched and rewatched these movies multiple times, so I didn't realize that those 3 movies take place in basically the same time period.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When Fury is going out and assembling his Avengers, and so it was really, really cool that they used that kind of that format of these 3 movies is kind of what formatted the What If. And we've seen that in the first 2 episodes. They have, like, the first episode had just one movie, really, that it formatted from. But then, like, episode 2 was kind of Guardians of the Galaxy, but it pulled in a whole bunch of other movies as well. So it was really cool. And I thought, when the watcher didn't tell us what moment was changing, which is a departure from the first 2 episodes. The first 2 episodes, he tells us right away what the thing is.
Well, that is the moment, he'll say, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. We don't get this. So I was like, okay, so is the moment when Tony dies? What is it? And I really like that the show, that even at the end of it, when we do figure out kind of what the moment is, the show kind of lets us make our own decision about it. The watcher doesn't tell us. He doesn't come right out and say it was when, because it's either when Hope decided to join S.H.I.E.L.D. or when Hope was killed on a S.H.I.E.L.D. mission. One of those two, which is, they're closely related. It's one of those 2 things were the moment that changed everything this time, because obviously it changed Hank Pym, made him more bitter, and all the stuff with Ant-Man didn't happen. Because we see him in the yellow jacket suit there at the end. So we realize that all the stuff that we saw from the movies and that was that would have taken place between Hank and his daughter in her adult life never occurred.
Yeah, I really think it had to do with her joining S.H.I.E.L.D. because at that point she never joined anything, if you remember the original Ant-Man. The one thing that I didn't know is that the Incredible Hulk was around the same time.
Okay.
That was interesting to me. I'm like, okay, I know Iron Man and Thor are right around the same week, because you could tell Fury was working on overtime and Coulson was going all over the place.
Right.
But yeah, my number 5, well, that would be the elimination of each Avenger and how they do it. I found that quite entertaining, oddly enough, in a sick way. Stark being killed after he gets the injection of the lithium dioxide. And that was in Iron Man 2, as you pointed out. Thor by an arrow from Clint Barton. But it wasn't Clint. It was just, Ant-Man just pushing it in a different way or something. And then we get Clint dead inside the prison. And, we all know he wouldn't commit suicide based on his family and his love for them. And then, of course, we get Hulk getting imploded on the grounds of the university, which was from the Edward Norton version of The Incredible Hulk when Sergeant Ross shows up.
Okay.
So that was weird because we got Ross at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found it really cool and it was fun to watch. Like I said, in a sick way, it was.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see it that way.
Yeah, and I had a little bit about this in my. I'm going to switch this up because I'll go to my number 3 since you talked about Thor's death, because that's kind of what my number 3 was. Was Thor being killed by that arrow? And again, it was one of those things that as soon as it happened, I was like, huh? How could he be killed by an arrow? And then I remembered that when in Thor, he wasn't worthy. He wasn't able to pick up
Mjolnir.
Yeah, thank you. The hammer until like towards the end of the movie, right? He has to actually.
He had to work at it because it's what Odin had done to him.
Yeah, he had to earn the right to be able to pick up the hammer again, and so he was just a normal Asgardian. He didn't have any special powers or anything. So an arrow at that time and could have killed him. So really, it's something I think TV podcast industry's pointed this out as well. That even in the original Thor movie, that means that if Clint had shot him with an arrow, if anything had happened to him. Before
he got shot with a gun or something. Yeah, anything.
He could have been killed. The stakes were really
pretty much mortal.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So that would bring us to your number 4 because I swooped up my number 4.
Yeah, my number 4. Well, to add on to what you were saying, though, I really enjoyed the episode for the humor in it, especially that scene with Thor and Coulson going, "He has wonderful hair." What?
Yeah.
Say that again. To me, I was like, I just love the humor within it, especially with Black Widow too.
Yeah,
the way they were going about with her and how a lot of the Shield agents didn't like her, and how that Fury favored her. That was interesting too. My number 4, well, that would be Loki came to Earth right after Thor was murdered, so apparently he could sense things, but he just comes to take vengeance on the person that killed his brother. I just love the fact that we get, Loki gets out because of, it was one of the variants that we never got to see, I think. I don't think we ever saw this particular variant. So at least it's another story of Loki, if you think about it.
Yeah, I had this down lower in my notes as well about Loki, and just the fact that this Loki is a much darker.
Yes, he's
character.
More manipulative.
Oh yeah, he's, even though at the beginning he kind of gets the banter of are you going to go ahead and get that, with Fury's cell phone ringing, but then by the time it gets to the end, he gets this dark turn to him that we have not seen before. Nope. And the only thing I could point to was, unless there's something else in this timeline that changed him, maybe Thor's death. And I think you're right. I don't think it was anything special. I think they knew when Thor died. I think it was one of those things where, like, it's a cosmic thing. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that may have been what pushed him over the edge to make him, darker and more evil.
Well, if you think about it, in the first Avengers that we see him when he comes to Earth, he's literally there to take over the Earth. He tries to get a bunch of people under his power. He keeps telling them to bow to him. Well, now, finally, at the very end of this, he gets his way, and he's in control of Earth, and everybody is his pawn. The governments will yield to him.
Right. But in the Avengers, he was under Thanos' thumb, though. So.
Yes, he was under Thanos' thumb, but he would still have Earth.
Yeah.
And that was the only small difference within it. In this case, he's trying to be ultimately more powerful. But, yeah.
Okay, so things are getting so swapped around. So the next one I'll talk about is the fight scene. The fight scene between Black Widow and the Shield agents in that back of that truck was just amazing. Like, it was, the animation in it was so cool. And I'm not sure if they could do it live action because, I really paid attention to it because I did watch that same Rockstars video that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that move is so cool when she knees that guy with her right knee and then kicks another guy and then kicks a third guy, all in basically one motion while she's standing on her left foot. And then she shifts her balance to the right, was just like, whoa. And I'm just like I was thinking to myself, could they do that? Could a live action, they would have to do some kind of CGI thing or something for them, or editing or something. Cause I don't know if like a real human could do that,
Yeah, the choreography would be crazy.
Yeah.
Scarlett would have to really work hard. And the one thing that would be a flaw is if somebody notices that, like Taskmaster, they would take out her left foot.
Right.
Or
exactly.
leg,
Yeah. So what's your next one?
Number 3? That would be Fury working with Loki to get down to the culprit of the killings.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good way of investigating the episode. It really intrigued me and got me really glued into, hey, I really like this. Because I started watching it on my phone when I was on break at work.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I really want to finish this up. So I did, and I watched it again when I came home.
Yeah.
But, Fury is still working with Coulson and Fury to get the information. They have to get all this information. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. Once he figured out who it was, yeah.
And the nods to the movies itself, like Coulson's love for Cap, that was a pretty cool scene, I thought. He goes, I heart Captain Steve Rogers, or was it?
I think it was, if I remember correctly, let me see if I got it.
I think I have it down
It's hashtag Steve, I heart Steve 0704. So...
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And the little nuances of like those things that come from those movies. So obviously, if a lot of those people who are just watching these and they've never dove into any of those movies, they could easily go back and watch how it all came to be.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Let's see. So my next one that we haven't talked about yet is, we talked a little bit about Hulk's death, but we didn't really dive deep into it because it really confused me. And to a certain extent, it still kind of does confuse me.
Okay.
But I loved the editing. Also, I want to talk about the editing of that scene between Hulk's attack on Ross's troops and Loki's ice attack on the SHIELD agents. It kept going back and forth, and it was just the editing in that was just marvelous to me. Like, I want to watch it again just to watch that scene going back and forth.
Yeah.
But there's that point where we think it's a gunshot, or they think it's a gunshot. Obviously, we find out at the end that it's not. It's that Hank was able to penetrate in his suit. He was able to penetrate Hulk's skin, which, okay, I guess if bullets don't bounce off him, bullets do hit him. I get it. He can get into the bloodstream. He's small enough. And then I guess he threw one of those enlarging things at Hulk's heart. And then he got out before the enlarging thing caused Hulk to, it's still.
You got to suspend your disbelief a little bit with him getting inside the body. Now, obviously, there are other ways. He could easily go into Hulk's mouth, go into his stomach, and still do that.
Right. He could have gone in through his ear. He could have gone. Yeah. There's a whole other ways that he could have. He could have done that. So I just think for the show itself, for them doing it like as a gunshot, or making the audience think it was a
gunshot. Yeah.
Right. Is that in the movie? Is that how they get him? Is somebody inadvertently shoots him?
No.
Okay.
No. So at that point, when you see him on the campus, and it's that bridge scene where they walk across it's the glass bridge.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot up smoke guns or whatever, it goes in there, those canisters go.
Oh, and that's what makes him mad.
And he just gets angry, turns,
okay.
He jumps, breaks through it, he's on the grounds, the tanks are all there, they have these sound guns that are there that try to repel him, and then Blonsky comes out after he takes the super soldier serum that Ross had given him and gets a good way, but then, he gets crushed. But that's the only thing that they didn't really put in here. You didn't see Blonsky at all.
Right, okay. So what's your next one?
Well, Fury meeting up with Hank Pym and finding out that he was the murderer all along.
Mm-hmm.
All of it pointed out that Hope was killed in action, so that's the whole story of that. But Hank lost everything, his wife, his daughter, but he has, Yellow Jacket's costume at this point. It makes me curious, because the Yellow Jacket was created by his next in, I guess, command of his company, the one who was trying to take over in the original Ant-Man movie.
Right.
So he developed this on his own. So apparently he made it better than that guy did.
Right.
But I just like that it kind of flip-flopped.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that now we have Hank as the antagonist. And the fight with Fury, or who we think is Fury at that point, because I think in the very beginning, because everything that Fury was saying is only things that Fury would know.
This is something I really keyed in on my second watch, and it was in my notes. Is
okay.
His dialogue is very un-Fury like.
He speaks a lot like Loki,
and,
yes.
And everything he says, and the only thing he says that I can understand where you're going, but I think maybe Fury just gave him a little bit of information.
That's what I thought too.
Is knowing what mission Hope died on. Because that's the only thing that came out that was something only. But other than that, he says things like, "I don't care about these people." We know that's not true. We know Fury cares about his people. When he names off the Avengers, he says Anthony Stark. He doesn't say Tony Stark. I really picked up on that in the second watch. That he says Anthony Stark, and he says the full names.
That's pretty cool.
So there was a lot of things in there that he said. So the only thing I can guess is like we just said, is that Fury must have told him a little bit of information just in case Hank asked some questions or Hank said some things.
That's a good catch. I like that.
But yeah, there's a lot of that dialogue that I didn't notice
Makes
it the
me
first
want to go watch it again.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't notice it it wasn't until the second watch that I went, oh, this is very un-Fury like things that he's saying. Yeah,
you got that. That's cool. No, I thought it might have been, hey, he stood in there for the first, and then when he disappeared or whatever, Loki had done it, and then it was Loki taking over or something.
Yeah, I don't think so. So,
but when you said about like, and I was like, well, maybe he gave him information, but that's a lot to take. That's a lot of information last minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially it's like I want to see your master or your.
No, that was Fury. No, that was Fury. Because that was when Fury went to see.
Yeah, he went to go see Loki.
That was Fury. But
I know that.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, I just like the fact that you see Hank taken away by the Asgardian guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I love that at the beginning when Fury makes that, and obviously it's one of those things that Loki doesn't know the colloquialisms of the world. When Fury says, "Well, you'll get your pound of flesh," and Loki's like, "Oh no, I'm going to get way more than a pound. I'm going to get the whole thing."
Yep, and he did. You got it.
So I have no idea where we're at. All of my 5 points have been talked about. So I'm going to jump into some of my notes before we get to your number 1, I think.
Sure.
So one of the things we saw is I don't think we've seen this in any of the other episodes. We saw kind of the silhouette or the shadow of the Watcher a couple of times.
Yes.
In the skyline.
Over the skyline, yep.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think we've ever seen that in the episodes before.
No, we haven't. It was
so
like a shadowing.
Yeah, that was very cool. I don't know if that's telling us something that maybe he's getting closer to events or something, but it's going to be interesting to see going forward to map that progress.
Yeah. Well, my last one, just to throw it out there, obviously it's the last scene when we see Loki in charge of the world, and that all the leaders and the world bow before him. So basically, nonetheless, he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
Pretty much most of what all the Lokis do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want.
So some of my notes, let's see, just kind of go back and forth. I know we both got a bunch of notes. Is I love the voice actors that came back for this. I recognize that some of them didn't, but I just love that we had Samuel L. Jackson, we got Clark Gregg, we got Mark Ruffalo, we got Jeremy Renner, we got Tom Hiddleston, Jamie Alexander, and even Michael Douglas, which I thought was super cool.
I didn't think that was him. I didn't check the credits. So.
I did a screenshot of the credits, and it is Michael Douglas. And I think I didn't catch it on the second watch, but I thought on the first watch that the very first credit that comes up is like special guest star Michael Douglas or something. Because I know they kept it till the end, because I watched the opening credits this time very closely to see if his name was in it. And I didn't see his name in it, but like I said, I did do a screenshot of him because I watched it on my iPad the first time, and that was Michael Douglas, and he does such a great, like, he sounds just crazy, paranoid, manic. it was a great portrayal, I thought, from him.
The one thing I noticed was the Betty Ross that we got looked a bit different to me. Obviously, they made Banner look like Ruffalo, but the Betty Ross we got did not look anything like the Jennifer Connelly that we got in The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. So it was another way of them washing away Edward Norton from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She didn't even look like Liv Tyler at all.
Yeah, not really. I mean, not really. So
yeah, it was weird.
So the next one I got is I knew that Black Widow was saying a name when she said Hope. When he said it's all about hope.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that, I was like, yep.
And also the closed captioning had it capitalized. So I knew that it was a name. But the problem for me is, again, like I said about the movies, I didn't know who Hope was. So I had no clue that it was.
Oh, you didn't know it was Hope Van Dyne?
Yeah, they were talking about the woman from Lost who's in Ant-Man and who is now the Wasp.
Angelina Lilly?
Yeah, Angelina, that's it.
Angelina Lilly.
Yeah, and something like that. So I just love that. Yeah.
And my next one, Black Widow not being what S.H.I.E.L.D. agents think of someone that Fury would take as an operative or an Avenger. They didn't trust her, I guess, because, she was Russian. She was from the Red Room.
Yeah.
So it was all the behind her back talk that we got to see.
Right. I love seeing the pager come back up from Captain Marvel, and I love seeing her at the end. That it was and another one that did not return. That was not Brie Larson.
No,
doing the voice.
No,
but I love. It's another one of those things that all three of these episodes have left us at the end, which is what the What If comics were all about. Mm-hmm. They left us at the end like salivating. We want to see more of this world.
Yeah,
and I would say probably 90% of the time. We never saw these worlds again. I think there was a couple of times that What If would go back to a previous What If timeline.
Yeah, and they would continue it. Yep.
But it was very, very rare. So I know I would love for season 2 to pick up some of these stories later on. I would love to see, the Captain Marvel, Captain America, Nick Fury, Agent Coulson version of the Avengers, whoever else they're able to get up to try to raise a revolt against Loki. But I don't know if we're going to get
the fact that they actually gave a nod to that was pretty cool, because they found Cap, they had him, and then of course he used the beeper.
Yeah,
from Captain Marvel.
And this was one of the things that kind of blew one of my theories that I was starting to work on over the weekend. I was kind of starting to think maybe all of these episodes of What If are in the same world. But obviously this one blows that completely out of the water because Loki takes over the Earth and we have Captain America, not Captain Carter. So
yeah, but
that was I was starting to work on a theory where all of these episodes were going to be tied together as being the same world, but no, it's all right.
A note that I had was the dots on Barton's head looked like something out of the Predator when the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents thought that Barton killed Thor.
Yeah, I've never seen a 3-pointed laser sight like that.
Yeah,
I don't know, except for Predator. So I don't know if that was what they were doing there or not. The last thing I've got, the only other note I have is that, and I didn't think about it until the second watch, was why is there a coffin for Thor? Wouldn't they have taken his body back to Asgard?
Yeah, exactly.
Like what he wasn't officially a member of the Avengers.
Yeah, it was weird. They had all their symbols on their coffins.
Yeah. And that hammer, by the way, is still on this world.
Yeah,
right?
It's still sitting there in that, what was it, the Mexico desert?
Yeah,
somewhere in a desert, yeah.
So that's another one of those threads that if they did a sequel to this one, we would have to see, like, maybe if Captain America is able to pull that hammer out of the ground. I don't know. We'll see if somebody's worthy enough.
All right, well, I covered, I think, most of my notes.
Okay, so we got some quotes?
Yeah. First one for me would be Coulson saying, I got visual on the intruder, and he's got really great hair. And then Fury's like, excuse me? Coulson states, it's an accurate description, sir. He's gorgeous.
Yeah, and one of mine was Clint's line after that is Coulson wasn't lying about the hair. It's magnificent.
Yeah. I love that. And then Fury saying, it's weird, but I also have a space corpse that looks like a Chippendales dancer rotting on the next table over. And Coulson points out that Barton was on lockdown after Fury states that Barton has a wife and kids and wouldn't kill himself easily with cyanide capsules.
Yeah. My next one is, I know the speech at the beginning when Fury starts to repeat his Avengers Initiative speech that he gave to everybody. I love it. She stops him. I know the speech. So.
Yeah, that was in Scarlett Johansson, but even still, the person that did it was pretty cool. I liked it. Last one for me would be Coulson saying, sir, the place is armed with bogeys. Fury goes, Earth? Coulson goes, no, more like Middle Earth.
Yeah. And then my last one is Coulson again. Even while rotting, he smells like lavender.
And they kept sniffing, both of them.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. I did not see any feedback. I didn't. Let me check.
Neither did I. I didn't see anything.
Okay. I was gonna check the Facebook post real quick, but I didn't see anything earlier today.
Yeah. Well, the only news that we got this week, obviously, if you listeners, I know a lot of people don't like to be spoiled by trailers, but the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, or teaser trailer at that, it's just a teaser trailer, and gave us a little sousson, little piece of the pie, little something, so that way we could salivate for another bunch of months till the movie comes out. But I had to watch it, but it didn't really give anything totally away. Gave us an idea.
Yeah, it didn't really give anything away that hasn't been already kind of confirmed.
Yeah.
And it didn't really. I mean, the other things that it kind of gave away is speculation about stuff. So really,
yeah, and I've heard a lot of people speculate. Oh, it's Mephisto. That's really not Strange, and he's the one. And I was like, no.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was like, don't just let it. I'm just basically letting it sit so I could salivate on it more before we get something. And that's not even a whole trailer at that.
Exactly.
So I can't wait to go see what that trailer gives us, because they imply the other Spider-Man with Doc Ock and then the pumpkin bomb and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed that, especially the banter between Strange and Peter.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, you could call me. We saved the Earth together, so you could call me my first name. Okay, Steven." He goes, "That was awkward," or something like that.
Something like that, but I'll allow it, or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
It was cute. It was cute.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
But you could see that it's weird because they're making it sound like that Strange caused the multiverse at this point because of the spell that he's putting on Peter. But we won't know that until we see that and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. Again, everything's speculation at this point.
It is all speculation.
So podcast recommendations?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just interrupted you. I apologize.
That's okay.
The only one I've got this week really is We Have to Go Back, Lost Revisited. We'll be returning in September. I'm so excited to have our Lost Rewatch joint podcast between Podcastica and the Next Level Network returning in September. They've got a couple of my voicemails in the can, so I'm a little ahead of them, but I'll be definitely listening and looking forward to sending voicemails to them here in the next month.
Cool. One that I would give out, that would be Watched It in the 80s with Damien Vitale on the Pyrocore Entertainment Network. I started listening a lot more, going to deep dives. I hadn't really had a chance to listen to what Damien was up to, and I'm really enjoying his coverage. I've been listening for the past day and a half for the Family Ties coverage. So he dipped his toe into TV now a little bit, so he's going to go back to more. I'm curious if he's going to go into some other shows that I grew up on too.
Interesting. I got to pick that up. I haven't listened to any of those yet.
And of course, we always highly recommend House Podcastica on the Podcastica Network and their coverage of What If, as well as TV Podcast Industries with their coverage with What If.
And as always, Strange Indeed. I stepped over you again. I'm sorry, man. This tonight has not been a good recording for me.
Oh, it's okay.
And as always, we recommend Strange Indeed, which is covering Sweet Tooth.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have any YouTube recommendations, so.
Okay. So again, for our normal boilerplate stuff that we always say every week, you are obviously listening to us on your podcast player of choice, but we can be found on all the big ones out there: Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. I'm not sure what other new ones we're on, but you can find us on all the major podcast players. If there's a chance to give us a rating, we would love to have a rating from you. That always helps us out and always gives us a smile on our face. You can always send us feedback to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/panelstopixels. We have a website, which is being currently revamped, I think. So currently, does it still redirect you to the Facebook page?
No, not yet.
Okay, it's just under construction.
I factor because I have to move. There's a lot of packing still.
Okay.
I figure by October sometime I will have time dedicated on a weekend to sit solidly and do this and not be distracted. So we'll be working on that. Hopefully by the end of October, we'll have a full website up.
be on the lookout for our panels2pixelspodcast.com website. That should be out there soon.
Yes.
And as always, you can email us at panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels2pixels1, the TO spelled out right in the middle, and the number 1 at gmail.com. And finally, as always, we have a YouTube page. Our YouTube page is Panels to Pixels Podcast. Please check it out. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to us. Help us boost our numbers there on YouTube. It would be really super cool to have that exposure because I know that's a big exposure for us. So again, Panels to Pixels Podcast on YouTube. And next week, we will be covering episode 4 of What If, whatever that is.
What if something? And where else can listeners hear us? Well, I could be heard on Adrenaline Cinema podcast on the Pyrocore Entertainment Network. There we cover action films, adventure films, suspense films, thriller films, basically anything to get your adrenaline going. So I got a lot in the can. I'm going to be doing these bi-weekly till I settle down. But I think I already have 6 recordings already, so
nice.
I have a lot of editing to do and just to upload them to you and get them out. I have to watch my time when I have off so I could take care of everything. And I will say this, and I want to thank all of you listeners for being patient if an episode is a little late. Believe the What If episode, last week's What If episode that we covered showed up that night, or the night that the new one, came on to Disney Plus. So I just want to thank you guys for being patient and listening still.
Very cool. And obviously, I did record finally for Wilhelm with Ben Beck right here on the Next Level Podcast Network. And you should be hearing that by the time you hear this. We were discussing war movies. So
cool. And we always like to have everybody go to the Next Level Podcast Network, the website, and check out all the other podcasts that are on the network itself, too. Because they're fun to listen to.
Very cool.
All right. Well, that was our show, and I just want to thank everyone for listening. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Panels to Pixels, and we'll see you on the next panel. Good night.
Good night.